I have it tattooed on my back. It says, "The devil and God are raging inside me." And that's in my head. That's what was always going on. My anxiety, that's what I call it. Constant all the time. And so, you know,
If
the
only it was
demons.
easier to turn it on and off
Yeah,
though in your
yep,
mind.
yep. So my first instrument was oboe. And, you know, I was classically trained. I learned how to read music and read notes. And the best part about playing oboe is where you get to sit. You sit in the center because you're the instrument that tunes the rest of the symphony. And so I got to sit dead center with the strings off to this side, violins here, violas going back that way, and, you know, flutes and woodwinds off this way, percussion behind, and the director in front of me, and just the full-on surround sound experience. And like being part of a musical mass like that is just cool. It's awesome. I found out that my mom's dad played guitar and his brothers all played, and I had no idea. And I called him up and I was like, "Hey, I heard you play guitar. Do you still have a guitar?" And he's like, "Yeah, you want to borrow it?" And I was like, "Yeah." Every waking moment was about that, learning how to tune it, listening to it, and carrying this guitar with me everywhere I went. I mean, so much of who I am, when I look back at what made me who I am, was rebelling to something. It was like not being my older brother. I couldn't please my father, so I was gonna just be the complete fucking opposite. I acted out in those kinds of ways. And I saw people being able to express that through music. Finally, it got it into my hands, and that's just kind of, it feels that way. It feels like it comes out of my soul into the instrument. I was talking with somebody the other day, and they're like, what are you, God's gift to guitar? And I was like, no, God's gift to me was the guitar. It allows me to express myself in ways that I can't do with my words. Yeah, so I grew up fairly religious, and when I first started playing, we were considered way back when straight edge before it became this whole other thing that it is now. It was just basically meant you were real punk rock, but you just didn't do alcohol and drugs. You know, I'd been dealing with, you know, all of my feelings, suicidal ideation, you know, my mental illness, my depression, my anxiety. My anxiety has always been like, it's been horrible in my entire life. I mean, to the point where sometimes it just leads me to complete inaction. And I was trying to go to college, so my doctor then prescribed me Klonopin. And I started taking that, and all of a sudden, I went from D's to A's. And I was like, holy shit, this is like how normal people feel. If normal people feel that good, I wonder what like 5 or 6 do. What, you know, and I really didn't think it was that big of a deal at the time, and started having, you know, this rebellious side of me that was just like, when they were telling you don't do drugs because it's, you know, it's not fun, they don't tell you how fun drugs really are. And so I was on this like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this now.
Hey, you're not in this. I'm right here. Oh, okay. Are you in it?
You're starting it, dude.
Is it recording? It has been. Should we start it over? Do you want to hit the record button in the back and then hit it again so it starts over?
So now
Bye.
Hey, who is it? What's going on here? Wait, what button am I supposed to hit?
It's in the very back.
Back, like back in my butt?
Yes.
God is still alive and I am naked.
I screwed up twice. I'm sorry.
And so it turned into, you know, drinking, but this time now I was hiding it from everybody. And when I would play shows, I would, you know, prepare beforehand and then just be like, okay, you know, and made a deal with Darren, it's just one shot and one beer, and then we perform, and then afterwards we can do whatever. But I had already had whatever beforehand, and I had a bottle in my gig bag. At the time, I thought it made me incredibly creative. At the time, I thought it did. But looking back, I would say the creativity may have been there in the beginning, but the levels where I took my drinking took it to, I'd be functioning at 20%. 20% of my ability, and sometimes I remember looking down and it was just muscle memory keeping me playing. My liver was gone, my kidneys were going, I needed to be on, I was really dead, and that's really what I wanted. I mean, really, when it came to it, it was just like, you know what, I don't really see much use for me anymore here. I don't find any joy. So my doctor sent me home with a Librium taper to go detox at home, and I was, it was really just like, you know what, I kind of just want to take all of this and go away. I went home and I was just like, okay, I've got this Librium taper, I'm just going to do this thing. And then Recovery Ways called me and said, hey, we got a bed for you, and we got somebody to sponsorship you, so come down right now. And I was like, awesome. So I went down that day, that evening, and I remember going in there and getting checked in, getting down into the detox center, what they call Denali, and laying on the bed and just laying down and feeling like this is where I'm gonna die. And just being like, okay, it's done. And I felt so much peace. I mean, one of the greatest most peace I'd ever felt in my life at that moment, that it was done. I think this was the moment where I was just desperate enough, or whatever, to be brave enough to say a real prayer and just be like, take care of my kids. That's all it was take care of my kids. And the experience that I had at that moment was, you can have any experience you want with your kids, but you have to be here. You have to do it, and you have to fight. And the feeling was like something I had wanted my entire life. I want to compare it to heroin, but I felt loved and warm and cared about and wrapped. I felt love, like somebody actually loved and desired and cared about me. It was a very strong and feminine feeling, and was like, you gotta fight. And I knew I had to change everything, and that meant not going back to my old job, not getting back with my old bands, not, changing all my friends. All of that had to change. This was going to be a brand new life and a new chance at something. Make cool ambient noises. Called Oliver up one day and was talking to him, and wanted to do my amends with him, and we thought, hey, you know what, we could start something up, just me and you, let's do it. And I was like, okay, it's got to be clean and it's going to be sober, and let's do something else. And so we started this project called Echo-Filled. Turns out Andres is in recovery as well, and so that's been a really cool, positive thing for this band. And we just found a bass player, and we're working on making this record now, and we played some shows, and it's been really positive, and it's been really good. And it's nice to do this sober. It feels really good to do this sober. It's real now, and it's a whole new set of feelings. And this new life I've been given a chance at has been awesome. It always feels great when somebody's applauding you or singing along to your songs. That always feels really good. But I don't know if it's this new recovery life or this new life I've been given. It feels so much richer to me now. It really does. And for that, I give it more. I give more of me. I feel like I'm giving more of me into it right now. I feel that I'm able to produce better now because I care more now.
And this is a bit of an abstract one, a chord or a note that represents your recovery?
Ooh, my recovery. So before I used to always really like the A minor 7 chord, which is like, it's really sad sort of version of an A minor. You can use it in C. Maybe my recovery is just like a solid G, just that chord that's just, and it just let that guitar ring and ring and ring and ring and ring and just sustain, and that's what it really feels like. I could just, there it is.